I need to take down the Gasparetti's. I got in the door and right to the lady, apple box that Lucy gave me from school. I had tape on it. Got right here to give it to in the bottom. In the middle of the floor.
Well, I'm sure they appreciate that. It cuts their cost down.
Well, yeah, it's the same thing. For a family, you buy with those down bases and you don't need them. He's my savior anytime I need
Something.
something.
So since the
Wife
study
has
sessions
everything.
aren't necessarily required, we
Which
will
likes flowers.
excuse Michael
I've got it made.
from the business meeting.
Right.
Restaurant.
Yeah.
Question not.
Yeah. He's been down there during the worst time. I used to go to their Christmas. They always had a Christmas thing. It's that Ray Shatner and a couple others in that part. You know, there.
Yeah.
And Christmas thing, we did it for about 20 years straight. We used to do Pilates with in Pat's group. It doesn't do it. They actually have one exercise. They call it the that's one thing you have to go like this. It's a little, probably because he complained about it. So
She's still on that house at 16.
I don't think so.
Some cool houses along that stretch.
I'm gonna give Mr. Miles to 6:05 if he's not.
Oh,
There we go, we got it.
Oh, yeah.
Want to make it?
yeah, no wonder there for a while. It's been one of those weeks. But oh well.
I'm glad you're okay. Okay, good evening, everybody. We'll go ahead and get started. I'll call the meeting to order, 6:03 PM on Tuesday, February 8th. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Dr. Finch, any changes to the agenda?
No changes?
All right, we will go ahead and go into executive session. It's 6:04. We will be back for the regular meeting at 7 PM. No action will be taken either. Mr. Attorney did sit down. I have to get up again. I know, I was thinking the same thing.
I think our mics are live too. So.
Stephanie tonight.
No. Ori Jones is helping.
So when we get the warmer weather coming, we get a river. The River King.
Oh my God. Must be fun to be a kid though, running around. Get in the mud. We got our crew.
We've had some years where it was a river, it's more like a little creek right now.
Mhm.
I think it's the start of the Tannen Creek.
Mm.
One of the fingers.
Little
that come up,
tributary.
yeah, we'll get a melt, we'll get some of that through.
About an hour. Good, thank you. Yeah, no problem. Testing 1, 2. Lynn, I see your name on to speak and then crossed out. Did you want to speak? Did you want to speak, Lynn? No, okay. And Don Young, did you want to speak also? No? Okay. Okay, thank you. I do it with my glasses here.
Okay, good evening, everybody, and thank you for attending tonight's West Valley School District Board meeting. We will dispense with the Pledge of Allegiance since we said it at the study session. And we'll go ahead and call the second meeting or the regular board meeting to order at 7:03 PM on the 8th of February, 2022. So we'll go ahead and before we even get started, I'd like to make a motion that we excuse Mr. Thorner this evening from today's meeting.
Vamos a iniciar con nuestra promesa.
I'm sorry, what was it? No, go ahead. Oh, Okay, all those in favor signify by
Todos los
saying
que
aye.
estén de acuerdo
Aye.
digan sí,
Pose same sign. Okay, that motion carries.
todos los que
All
no
right, now we'll
digan
go
no.
ahead and start with item number 4 on the agenda.
Vamos
Change
a
to the
empezar con el
agenda,
punto
Dr.
número
Finch.
4 en la agenda.
Yes, under action items, we need to add letter C, travel
Tenemos que
request
agregar el punto C,
for the JROTC competition in Kennewick
de la
on Friday
competencia
and Saturday, February 18 and 19 of 2022.
en
So
el 2022.
JROTC competition in Kennewick, Friday and Saturday, February 18, 19, 2022.
En el 22.
And that's all.
All right, thank you, Dr. Finch.
Gracias, doctor Finch.
Item number 5, school presentation. Again,
Vamos a
Dr.
tener una
Finch,
presentación de una escuela.
White Hollow STEAM Elementary.
Vamos
We're
a
so
tener la
grateful that we
escuela
have
White Hollow.
lots of parents and students from
Tenemos
White
muchos
Hollow
padres y
STEAM Elementary
estudiantes de la
today.
escuela White
We're
Hollow.
going to have Rick Ferguson
Y
lead
vamos a
us through the
tener al
presentation.
señor Rick
And we're going to
Ferguson,
give a chance for the school board members to join the audience so we can see
en donde después
the
vamos
big
a
screen,
tener la
because I know
oportunidad
part
de
of
que
the
el personal
presentation
del
is some video
consejo
presentation.
directivo se puede unir a la audiencia.
All right, I think this mic's on. Good. This is not unlike hosting a board meeting at White Hollow in the
Este
library.
no es el tipo de juntas que yo
Pretty
tengo en White
cavernous in
Hollow.
here. So hopefully you guys can all hear me in the back.
Espero que todos ustedes
I'm
me
Rick
puedan
Ferguson. I'm
escuchar
the
bien.
principal at White Hollow STEAM
Soy
Elementary.
el director de la
And
escuela
I'm
White
very
Hollow
excited to be here this
y
evening
estoy muy
and
contento de
present
estar
to
aquí con
you
ustedes
on 2 programs at our
en
school.
2 programas
These programs give
que
students
nuestra escuela
excellent
está haciendo,
opportunities to gain some
en
skills,
donde les están
some
dando a los
21st century
estudiantes
skills, which
habilidades.
we're always focusing on at White Hollow STEAM. And a lot of the students wanted to be here tonight. In fact, we probably could have filled up a good portion of this auditorium. And so we do have a video presentation because they wanted to tell you about our 2 programs. Tonight, we're going to be talking about our K-Kids program, which is a collaboration with the local West Valley Kiwanis. And we're also
Disculpen, me
going to be
parece
talking
que
about our
esto no está
Connection,
funcionando bien.
which is our news cast
If
that is
you
new to
can
White
hear
Hollow this
me
year,
speaking
using some of
Spanish,
the
you have to
technology that
select
we
the
have,
language. So
and
go
our green
to
screen and our
that little
iPads and our
world at the
microphones
bottom right
and
next to
some things that we've
record, and you have to
implemented. So
select
we're very excited
English.
about that.
That's the way
We'll
you
hear
will be
from
able to
our
hear
local
English.
Kiwanis
If
group.
you
We'll
don't,
also
you
hear
will
from some of
hear
the
me
leadership
speaking.
from our K-Kids, as well as our advisor, one of our advisors for our K-Kids, and also the person that oversees the Cub Connection newscast. So without further ado, here's our video presentation about
Nuestro
K-Kids
video que
and
vamos a
Cub Connection
presentar
at White Hollow STEAM.
es de nuestro programa de White Hollow STEAM.
Hi, my name is Noel Rodriguez and I'm the White Hollow STEAM K-Kids.
Uy, no
I
se
have to
escucha
remember to
nada.
share my screen. Hold on. That always helps.
Van a compartir la pantalla. Un segundo. Uf. You still hear me.
You're gonna have to make me able to share my screen. It says it's disabled.
And you clicked on English. So you clicked on English and you still hear me? Oh boy.
Just waiting. So for some reason, we are unable to screen share. I can probably run my laptop up to the sound booth as well. In the meantime, we can move on with the rest of the presentation until I can get my laptop up there. We have some of our leadership for the K Kids today. We have the officers for our K Kids. So would Mitchell Elliott, Max Ince, Ellie Bauer, and Nora Rodriguez come up? These are our officers for our K Kids Club, and they're going to tell you some of the things that they really enjoy about K Kids and just kind of the opportunity that they've had being K Kids at White Hollow. Perfect. All right. Who wants to go first? Nora? All right. This is Nora Rodriguez. She's our K Kids president.
Hi, I'm Nora Rodriguez, and I'm the K Kids president. And one thing I do is I organize and start off some of the meetings that we do in our classrooms, and sometimes when there's an upcoming event, I announce something in the speaker.
Hi, my name is Maxwell Inns, and I'm the K Kids vice president for the K Kids. And I help run the meetings when Nora's not around, or sometimes I do the announcements, and I just help when she's not around. Hi, my name is Ellie Bauer. I'm the K Kids secretary, and that I kind of I will like take notes during the meetings, and that K Kids has really taught me to be more confident and to help others, because I improved my public speaking really much, and I also am more confident in that I can help more others. Hi, I'm Mitchell Elliott, and I'm the K Kids treasurer.
Yo soy tesorero.
I normally would be doing stuff with like the money and
Me gusta estar haciendo muchas
fundraising
cosas
and
con el
stuff,
dinero,
but I haven't really gotten a shot to do that
pero
since
no he agarrado mucha
we
experiencia.
haven't really incorporated it.
No lo
So
hemos
I don't do much, but
hago mucho.
so one thing that K Kids has taught me
Así que una de
or
las
shown
cosas que hago
me is, or more have provided me, is ways that I can help
es
others,
ofrecer formas en las que yo pueda
like
ayudar
or come up with other ways to help
o salir otras, o
the
tener otras formas de
community.
ayudar.
Like this wasn't really through K Kids, but last Christmas I did a candy cane thing where it's like the candy grams for Valentine's Day, but instead it was candy canes, and it just had a nice message, and every kid got it instead of like only like 2 or 3 kids getting one in a class, and then getting like 5, and then no one else getting any.
All right, and there are many K Kids. Is that video ready to roll? Because there's just a lot of kids in this video.
Hi, my name is Laura Rodriguez, and I'm the White Hollow STEAM K Kids president. You're probably wondering what K Kids is all about. Let's take a look. K Kids is a service club for students in elementary school and have an opportunity to give back to our community. K-Kids teach us about character building, being able to do the right thing even when it might be an unpopular choice. K-Kids teach us leadership skills. K-Kids promotes caring and being concerned or interested in other people or situations. Well, these are just a few of the things K-Kids is
Yeah, it's very exciting watching the kids with the technology, being able to work on these skills, also watching them work with a local service community group as well. These two programs have been excellent. And we have two members here tonight from our local West Valley Kiwanis who come in and work with our students. K-Kids is a national program. And so Don Young and Lynn Tran are here. So let's give them a big round of applause. And they're going to talk a little bit about the Kiwanis Connection. Thank you, Don.
That's a hard act to follow. I've been in Kiwanis since 1985, and up until started West Valley Kiwanis in 1955, and up until 2002, our direct connection with youth and the community was the West Valley FFA 4-H Fair. In 2002, we had a student from the high school come to us and wondered if we could get a Key Club started at the high school. We found a sponsor, we found an advisor, and we started with 12 kids. This year with Mr. Khan as an advisor, we have 77, I believe. And 6 years ago, we saw the need to start with the younger group. So we started with the 4th grade at White Hollow with Mrs. Whitten as the advisor. It fell apart with the pandemic. Mr. Lamb picked it up this year. And we have 25 to 27 kids. And they ramrodded a food drive at Christmas time that netted over 8,000 food items. We donated half of it to Ram Landing, and the other half went to the Salvation Army. We also saw the need to get a bridge group started at the mid-school? Middle level. Yeah, mid-level group and the junior high school. They just completed a food drive for Catholic Charities for over 22 boxes of food. So that is the bridge gap between 5th grade and the high school. So we are very proud to have been a sponsor for these groups for all these years. And we would invite you to attend one of our meetings, which is the 2nd and 4th Monday, 7 o'clock at the White Hollow School, see what we're all about, and we would invite you to join us. Lynn?
Well, I had 2 kids that actually started with K-Kids when it first started. They were a club officer and everything at White Hollow. And I like to say that it's one of the most gratifying clubs for them. It taught them at a very young age what giving to the community really means. And it means a lot to me. I grew up always as a volunteer at a lot of organizations, and to instill that upon my kids, I think that's a lifelong skill and also knowledge. So I'm really grateful to the school. I'm grateful to Rick. I'm grateful to the middle level campus that we started the Builders Club, and at the high school as well, that my kid, after they finished Key Club, can move on to the Builders Club at the middle level campus and the Tukey Club at the high school. So I implore and encourage all those kids that did the video and the leadership to please continue. I ask that you foster your kids to continue to enjoy that giving service and what it really means. Thank you.
So with K Kids and our Cub Connection newscast, it definitely would not be possible without advisors. And so for our K Kids, we have 2 advisors, fourth grade teacher, Miss Danita Worley, and then our 5th grade PAL teacher, Mr. Brandon Lamb. And then Brandon is also the advisor of the Cub Connection newscast, which has been really phenomenal and really well received by our students. And Brandon came back to us from Natchez back to West Valley, and we were super excited to have him. And so I just want him to come up and say a few things about what it's like to teach kids media and technology and how to do newscasts and news reporting and interviewing. It's really fun seeing the kids out there doing and creating these news stories. So Brandon Lamb.
Thank you, Mr. Ferguson. As Rick mentioned, I have the honor of saying that I am the teacher of these 4 kids that were here tonight and the students that you saw up here on the screen. When Rick came to ask me if we might be able to put something together for tonight, I asked him about how long. And then I said, how many kids are we looking at? So I went back to the classroom and 100% raised their hand that they wanted to be here tonight to speak. So the 7-minute video, while it did seem a little long without being able to hear very well, that was a very condensed version as opposed to bringing all 24 of my students in here this evening. When we first started this program this year, when I returned to West Valley, not only was I leaving a specialist position and going into general classroom, so I thought, I went from teaching secondary to elementary, and I thought, how in the heck am I going to do this with these little guys that have the same kids all day? And the one thing that I heard consistently when I met with the parents at the beginning of the school year is, hey, it's been a while since we've been around people. Hey, communication skills. Hey, my child is an ace in math, but could we work on? And finding out the kids' interest was one thing that we really took and ran with. And having a theater background, currently directing the district musical Matilda, March 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Having a musical theater background, it totally made sense. And so these kids, they took it, they ran with it. Not only do they record all of their own videos, but they also brainstorm, they work together, they write, they direct, they go into the younger kids' classrooms so that they can make an impact on them. And so I definitely, to go with what was just mentioned, I definitely encourage the leadership in all of our schools because it definitely has made a difference in ours. Thank you for having us here tonight. Thank you for letting us share what we get to do. And I'm very excited to be back. Thank you.
All right, so that concludes our presentation. I do want to take a moment though and just thank Peter Finch for all of his leadership during this time. It's been kind of crazy being in schools, but being back in person has been huge since last October. And it's been just an excellent, excellent school year. And our students are getting great instruction every single day. And I just want to thank the board, thank Peter for all of their efforts that, it's not an easy time. These are unprecedented times, but just thank you. It's been well worth every minute of it. And anytime you want to drop by and see what's going on, you can see that firsthand. It's the kids are doing great and the staff are doing excellent as well.
And during this time, I usually take a little short break so the parents and students can go ahead and leave if you like. We will continue with the meeting, but it's not necessary for you to stay. I sure appreciate you coming to the board meeting tonight and sharing with the board. It's great to hear from our students, and certainly thank you to the parents for supporting. So thank you.
Okay, thank you for that very nice school presentation, Rick and crew. Really appreciate it. And it's always a pleasure to hear from our future leaders in our community. So nice job. Going on now, we'll move on to item 6, public comments of non-discussion agenda items. Again, we were working from a list. We're allowing 5 minutes per person to speak. After we go through the list, we'll take comments from those who are online. Again, a reminder, board will not be responding, but we will listen to your public comments. So we'll start with this Tarsi Levens. Yes, there's the microphone.
Amy, can you turn on the mic, please?
On or down? Can you hear me?
Yep.
I was Carol Blevins, and I have 2 grandchildren in the West Valley Primary School. And I'm just kind of addressing what was brought up last week or last meeting about the program of equality and inclusion. And when it was brought up, I didn't know what that was. I went online and looked up the definition. And also that was, the person had mentioned that there was some exercises every week in homeroom at the high school level. And so I looked that up, and its initials are DEI, and it is policies and programs to promote the representation and participation of individuals, of groups in different races, ethnics, abilities, disabilities, genders, religion, and sexual orientation. And I got the exercises. I asked the high school, and they sent it to me. But I still don't really understand what that looks like. And so I was wondering if in the exercises, like if we could have a presentation like we had here tonight for that program. And also there's some videos mentioned in it. There's a video mentioned on page 2 of inclusion and equity and inclusion in the language section. On page 2, there's videos mentioned on page 3 of the equity and inclusion diversity section. And some of them look very short, like 1 minute, 5-minute videos. And there's a video on page 2 of the equity and inclusion bias section. And see what that looks like, because I really didn't get what it looked like by the exercises, the way they were written. And the other thing I'd like to know, since I'm got my primary girls, is that program and policies, are those in all the different grade levels at West Valley? So that's just my comment tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comment. We'll go on to the next person, Amanda Rodriguez.
So my question to the board, I realize you guys aren't going to comment tonight, but I would hope for a response, email or at another meeting. My question is in reference to, I'm not sure if you guys are aware of a recent video by the state superintendent. I read that it came out 5 hours ago, where he was interviewed and he said that he's in support of an optional mask mandate in schools. I realize we have to wait for the governor to weigh in, but my question for you guys is if the governor does decide to make it optional, is the West Valley School Board, West Valley School District going to be in support of it being optional for students to wear masks?
Okay, thank you for your question. And at some point, Dr. Finch will prepare a response at one of our next meetings or something sooner, perhaps. Next, we have Peter Marinacci.
Good evening, gentlemen. I just want to say thank you for allowing more speaking time. I really appreciate that. And I think that's a real benefit for the community to get a chance to speak. Last board meeting, there was a community member who spoke, and I don't know if it was what Mrs. Blevins was talking about, if I'm saying your name correctly, but it was about what was going on in Ram Pride. There was material that were given to the students. So that's what I'm going to talk a little bit. There was a woman who spoke last time, and I actually thought that sounded pretty reactionary, what she brought up. And so I think some of you guys know me. I didn't want to make any assumptions about what was shared during that time. So I thought I'd do a little due diligence. I contacted the high school principal who referred me on to the teacher advisor. And by the way, a pleasant conversation. And rather than just isolating on that particular item, I collected all the materials that were shared with students during this week. And my understanding is, and I'm happy to stand corrected, is that this was in conjunction, somewhat of a theme of Martin Luther King. And she received feedback from the ASB saying that a big concern that we have for students is a number of the kids who have elected to maybe have a different view on gender have been bullied. And she was trying to collect material that she thought would be helpful to maybe share with the rest of the students in terms of showing respect. So I want to be very careful here. And if there's any parents out there who have kids who have their kid is decided to go by, I mean, no disrespect, and I'm more than happy to have a discussion with you. If you find something, you want to correct me, I'm good with that. I'm okay with the respect as a theme. I think the materials shared cross the line. So that's really what I want to speak about. And I thought about the speaker who spoke last week and what they said, and I said, wow, that seems really bizarre. So I think about it, most of you guys know I'm in a white collar field, and when we talk about introducing ourselves to somebody, some of the materials, what they were sharing about is that you would walk up to somebody when you say, hi, my name's Jane. I prefer to be called he. It's just really not natural. It's not natural at all. That's not really how people communicate, and I think we're all aware of that. The other thing that was in this material, so just think about what that community member spoke about last week, that you can look at the article yourself that was included in this material. It talked about that if you don't call somebody their preferred pronoun, that it's a form of oppression or violence. So if somebody came up to me and did not call me my proper pronoun, I would not view it as a form of oppression or violence. I would say, you know what? Sorry about that. Maybe I would just walk away. And I think there's a theme in here that I don't think we want our children who have that view also be victims, and they're part of a victimhood. I think if they have that view, then they should have their own self-respect, However, they shouldn't be educated or indoctrinated in some of this type of approach. I think, again, don't want any bullying to go on. However, I think people need to be respectful, and we should talk about respect. Just a second here, I just wanted to catch my thought here. There's another article that was included, a video. And in this video, it was an animation. And in this animation, the portrayal of, I'll call a traditional view of male and female was almost what I'd call poo-pooed upon. And in it, and also this is in some of the articles, it talks about male and female being assigned. Okay, that's not what science says. You're either male or female. It's not assigned. Thank you, Stacy. And I'm not saying that some student doesn't have a right to have the view of, say, a different gender. However, let's not change. We'll talk about it's all about the data and the science. Let's stick to that. And I'm running out of time. I'm more than happy to talk about this in a sensitive way. I just don't think that it was thought out very well that this advisor chose to include this material. I think maybe a citizens committee or run it up the chain. And again, I mean, no disrespect to anybody. It's just, I think it's not fair to the students who have a different view. And we're talking about inclusion. So how does a student who have a different view feel included? Thanks, Stacey.
Thank you for your comment, Mr. Marinacci. Okay, I have no one else on the list here, so I will go to the remote listeners. Is there anyone online that would like to make a public comment?
Hi there, can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. This is Megan Mock. I'm a speech language pathologist for the West Valley School District. And I want to expand a little bit on what Amanda said about Chris Reichdahl's interview today that was on King 5 at about noon today. And I just want to quote a few things that he said today. So I quote, "It's time to make the evolution. It's time to make the change. So we're working every day with the health department and the governor's office on what they're thinking and what kind of science they want behind this." End quote. I'm adding, hopefully real science. I resume the quotation. "Our schools are ready to make this transition. We have other strategies now, so the downside of wearing masks, whether speech therapy or learning, or that social interaction, or the function or the frustration, or all the discipline of teachers asking them to put the masks up, or the community frustration," end quote. So now I'm paraphrasing. "Now that we have mitigation strategies," he said, "those variables become more important." The variables that I just mentioned: speech therapy, learning, social interaction, etc. I'm paraphrasing he said, "Public health is more than case rates. It is mental health, community, learning, hopefulness." And he said, "If it were up to me, I would make masks optional and let families decide." I continue paraphrasing. He said, "Masks were the only mitigation strategy at one point when we were," and this is a quote, "losing lives at record rates," to which I'd like to add that Yakima County lost 0 children under the age of 18. And I paraphrase from his talk today. "Here's our ability to demonstrate the evidence that because of vaccines, natural immunity, and ability to quickly identify symptoms, we can do this now. The decision should be," this is a quote, "the decision should be masks optional." He said, "Everything we gather from the Department of Health And the governor's office indicates that the final decision will probably be in March. End quote. So I'd just like to add that Washington is one of the last of about 8 states to remove the mask mandate. So it just doesn't seem like keeping our mask mandate in place helped very much. And finally, I'd just like to add that with $8.5 million or more of ESSER funds and 2 years of practice, you guys still have such a hard time with technology. As a Zoom observer, I did not get to hear the video. And for the first half of the meeting, I had Spanish translation in spite of the fact that I had chosen English. So hopefully with some of that ESSER money, some of those millions of dollars, you might be able to practice and figure that out. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for your comment. Is there any more online or remote comments? Okay, thank you. We'll move on to item 7 on the agenda, action items. First, our approval of minutes. Oh, before I move on here, I just had a reminder here that the presentation for the White Hollow STEAM Elementary will be posted to the website and available to be viewed, hopefully here in the near future, for those who couldn't hear it very well or see it. So I encourage you, if you're interested, to take a look at it. It was a very fine presentation. Okay, I'll move on. Resuming item 7A, approval of minutes for January 25th, items 1 and 2 under 7A. Would anyone like to make a motion for approval of the minutes?
I'll move that we approve the minutes as written.
All right, thank you, Mr. Meyer. We'll go ahead and vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Item 7B, approval of policy revisions, revisions, second reading. Now, do we need to take these apart or can we do them all together?
You can do them all together.
Okay, then is there anything in any of those items, 1, 2, 3, or 4 that anyone would like to pull out and discuss before we go ahead and take a motion? All right, without that, we'll entertain a motion for item 7B, approval of policy addition revision, second reading. Thank you. We'll go ahead and vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Item C has been added by Dr. Finch, travel request for JROTC, February 18th through the 22nd.
Very 18 to 19.
18th to the 19th. Do I have that wrong?
It's because I said 2022.
Got you. Okay. I'll tell you what, how about you stating that for me?
Sure. Again, it's a travel request, JROTC competition in Kennewick, Friday and Saturday, February 18, 19 of 2022.
Thank you, Dr. Finch. All right, we'll go ahead and take a motion. Anyone like to make a motion or approval for the travel request for JROTC?
So move.
Thank you, Mr. Meyer. We'll go ahead and vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Moving on to item number 8, items arising. Anybody have anything? No? Okay, we'll go ahead and move on to item number 9, superintendent's report. Dr. Finch.
Yep, that was submitted in writing. Nothing to add.
Okay. Item number 10, board reports, board development. Board members, anybody have anything under item number 10?
Tomorrow night, Peter, can you talk a little bit about what's going on at the Innovation Center tomorrow night?
Sure. So we have basically open house. I think we're calling it a STEM fair. At 6 o'clock, it'll be for families of students. The students will be able to show us the projects that they've been working on, and it'll be for the families of the students there at the Innovation Center. Then at 7 o'clock, it's wide open. Invite all community to come to the Innovation Center, which is, the old high school, which was the old freshman campus, which was old Summit View and Apple Valley Elementary for 2 years, but now it's the Innovation Center. It's next to the football field. At 7 o'clock, it'll be a STEM fair. There'll be community organizations there, our community partners. Students will be doing presentations. There'll be prizes given. If you go to each of the booths and get it signed off, you'll get to do a raffle. So lots of fun activities tomorrow night at the Innovation Center. Again, we're gearing up for registration. We'll be accepting new students into the 4 pathways that we'll have for next year. So currently we have computer science, health science, and STEM engineering. And so there'll be additional students accepted into all those pathways. And then we are starting up next year a 4th pathway, which is robotics agri-science. And so that pathway will have students in grades 7 through 9. All the other pathways will be expanding 7 to 12 next year. And so the open house or the STEM fair is a chance for us to get people in the door, see what's happening at the Innovation Center, and consider a registration for the next school year. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Finch. Anybody else? Okay, we'll now go into closed session of planning, adapting strategy, positions for collective bargaining, professional negotiations, grievance, or mediation proceedings. It is 7:50.
20 minutes.
About 20 minutes. All right. Well, how about we'll be back at 8:15.
8:15, sure, and no action expected.
No action expected. Thank you.
Later ones, that doesn't mean it's gonna be significantly changed. It's weird that it's not being posted. So. Oh.
Okay, we are finished with the closed session. We'll resume the normal board meeting. It is, we'll say 8:14. It's just about 8:14. And we will adjourn at 8:14 PM on the 8th of February, 2022. Good job.